Hi, my name is Valentina. I am a sophomore at Pomona College, majoring in politics, philosophy, and economics. And today I will be interviewing Jose Rualcaba. Jose is an operations and sales manager at CMC, and he's also a member of the CRSI, known as the Concrete Reinforcing Steel Institute. So, hi, Jose. Thank you so
Hey,
much for joining us.
yeah, hi, Valentin. Thanks for having me.
So, I'm going to get started with a couple of questions. What initially drew you to the concrete reinforcing steel industry as a career path?
Yeah, so I had I think a unique um, start to the steel industry. I started as a summer internship in one of our epoxy facilities within CMC. And my father worked for the steel industry for many years. So it was a family affair, I guess you can call it. So I started at a very young age. I was 18 when I started. So I've been at it for 15 years now, so it's rewarding. It's a very rewarding career.
That's amazing. What high school courses or college courses have you found the most applicable or important for your career?
You know, when I started my college career, I didn't necessarily think I was going to be in the industry for very long. So some of the classes that I did take that I think have helped substantially, public speaking, anything related to communication, that has paid huge dividends. Towards the end of my career, I started taking more business courses, which is more related to what I'm doing now, and that has definitely helped out. Some accounting courses. A lot of it will depend on what side of the steel industry you want to be in. Uh, Part of my team has to deals with sales, estimating, and detailing. So if you're interested in getting into some of those courses, anything related to business management, sales and marketing, even some drafting courses or engineering courses will help out tremendously. So,
Perfect, thank you. What internships or apprenticeships helped you prepare for this career? You told me you started at the age of 18.
yeah,
How?
so yeah, so I started very young, like I said. So, I started off again as a summer internship, and this was after my freshman year of college, if I remember correctly. And I actually continued to work with CMC throughout my college career. So I never left the company. And as I worked for them, the longer I worked for them, the more I enjoyed it. And my career shifted, or my career goals shifted per se as I stayed with the company. So the longer I stayed with them, the more curious I was about them, and the more I wanted to stay with them. So you know what what has helped me, I think, first of all, being early on with him, and then second of all, just learning, what CMC is, what the steel industry is. You think of steel, and very few people know what actually everything that goes into this industry. So the more you know, the more you learn, and the more you appreciate to like it.
First, thank you. Um, can you tell me how you first came across CSRI?
Yeah. So the first couple of times I came across CRSI, like I said, I started out in one of our epoxy facilities in Colorado, and CRSI certifies some of those facilities, the epoxy coating facilities per se. So I was involved in the QC side of the business, which
Mhm.
helped me, that was kind of my first introduction into CRSI. After that, I did 4 years with safety within CMC. So I had a privilege to go out to the regional meetings that they held. So getting to go to those, meeting some new folks around the company and another other companies within the steel industry was pretty neat. But that was kind of my first introduction to CRSI. First of all, with the QC, and then on the safety side.
Awesome. Do you attend a lot of networking events in your field? And why do you believe that networking itself is important?
I attend a few amount. I don't, I probably don't attend as many as I should have, but I try to make myself available and go around as much as I can. As far as why that's important, um, the bigger network that you can build in your career, in my experience, the easier that career gets. So the more people you know, the more people you can reach out. Um, and as you meet them and as you work with these guys and gals, you'll start learning, some of the experiences that they go through. Um, and a lot of times as a new person to the steel industry, you don't necessarily, again, understand everything that goes into it. And having to spend time, even if it's 5 to 10 minutes with, a concrete sub or, someone working in a mill, for example, will give you a whole new outlook to what it is. So you start building networks, you start building relationships, friendships, and in my case, again, it has become easier for my role as I expand the network.
Cool. Um, does CSRI have a lot of networking events?
Yeah, they have a few. I talked about the regional meetings that they held, which they send the invites with plenty of time for us to get prepared and go if we have the time. But like Rob, our area manager for CRSI, every time he's in the area in Albuquerque, he'll stop by, and if he's holding any meetings with any engineers or anybody within his team, he tends to invite us, and we try to make it out as quickly as we can, or when we can. But yeah, I think they hold enough meetings that it helps folks that don't know CRSI as much get acquainted with it.
Thank you. Um, what does your typical workday look like?
See, that's an interesting question because it will vary. I don't think I can say that I have a typical day. Some days will be heavy with, online meetings or project meetings. But most of the day, it involves, working through the day-to-day activities, whether it's internal operation problems or situations that arise, or it could be meeting with external customers and trying to figure out how we can solve some of their issues. So it's a bit mixture. Some days are heavily internal operations, some are external operations, and then some days are just having online meetings.
So, Um, what words of wisdom do you have for someone who might be considering going into this occupation?
One thing I would tell them is to enjoy it, enjoy the ride. Very a lot of times I would say most of us don't necessarily spend or get to spend the time to enjoy what we're doing now. We're often looking at what's the next step, and we're so focused on how to get to that next step or the next career path that we sometimes forget to enjoy the day to day. So um, every day is going to be different. Every day is going to bring its challenges, but enjoy it. Try to make the best out of them. And the second thing I would say is be curious. Try to learn as much as you can. Ask questions. The more you wonder and you want to learn about things, the like I said, at least in my case, the more I've enjoyed it. So.
So, what is one aspect of your career that you think that people might not usually expect?
I would say how, going back to what I've said earlier, just how rewarding it is, whether it's meeting people within your industry, within CMC, or meeting, external customers, the network and the friendships that you build throughout it, it's rewarding. I mean, I've had people that I've met, when I was 2, 3 years in the industry that are now good friends. And you just, it's enjoying to see that, and it's very rewarding.
Okay, thank you so much for taking your time to answer all these questions, and thank you for joining us. And I really hope for the viewers that you enjoyed learning more about Jose's career and more about CRSI. And for more information, please visit the CRSI Key Career page and find out how they can help you progress your career path. So until next time, have a good week. Goodbye.
Yeah, thank you, Valentina. Goodbye.